This is a community-supported legal education channel. Find out how you can support our mission at the links in the description below. All right, so our first story for the week. When is a flag copyrightable, and then does this particular company have really any leg to stand on trying to say that this design from 1998 belongs to them? This is a pink and purple and blue flag, and you can see its design here has a bit of creativity. Remember, creativity is the cornerstone of copyright, or rather originality is the cornerstone of copyright. So can you copyright a shape of a flag with a large pink section? Maybe the top 2/5 of the flag are a pink section, and the bottom 2/5 of the flag are a blue section, and then the middle fifth of the flag is the mixing of the two. Pink and blue make purple. So Michael Page created this flag back in 1998 based on the biangle, which is a fun way of saying triangle, but it was a biangle logo of Bi Cafe, I believe. We'll see some of the tweets about the origin, and they have an information page and stuff. And he used the same colors because the triangle doesn't make a great flag, but a rectangle makes a great flag. So he made the flag, and my understanding is that he specifically selected pink to represent straight people and blue to represent homosexual people, and then purple to represent those in the middle who go both ways, bisexuals. Now, I'm not here to discuss any of the politics surrounding any of this other than the copyright claim. So let's just make that clear. Let's try to stick to that discussion in this matter, because this can get very political very quickly, and people can, even in the Pride community, can get all sorts of, hateful against each other. So we're not here to talk about any of that. But what I do want to talk about is whether this is copyrightable or not. So, here's the biangles. There you go. The creator, Michael Page, selected the colors to overlap and form overlapping triangles or biangles. And there you go. There's pink and blue and the purple in the center. And then starting in April of 2020, BiNet USA claimed that it was the sole owner of the flag and the flag colors, and said organizations and individuals who wish to use the flag for commercial purposes would be required to obtain a license from the organization. BiNet's claim and the resulting controversy were covered in the Out publication and the LGBTQ Nation publication, which cast doubt on BiNet's claim and noted that the flag is not eligible for copyright. Well, wait, why would the flag not be eligible for copyright? I'm not exactly sure. This one's kind of on the line. Remember I said that copyright requires a modicum, a minimum, it's a small amount of creativity. But without creativity, there is no copyright protection. Well, is this design creative enough to warrant copyright protection? You know, I'm not sure. So let's get to some of the controversy first, because there's a lot of controversy here. There have been tweets. Hello, we at BiNet USA are asking you to get in touch so we can discuss your use of the Pride flag without any money going to our organization. Thanks for removing the flag from your site, socials, or work. We know this is a lot, so we hope we can work a new deal. Keep that in mind. There's a new deal. Was there an old deal? Let's see what the old deal was. But first, April 28th. So that was 8:06 p.m. April 28th. 8:06 p.m. April 28th. It says, going forward, we ask community to help us out and DM us anytime you see Pride flags being sold, so we can reach out and establish a license agreement with the seller. If you're wholly nonprofit, we support your use of the flag to share by visibility, and you have our thanks. You know, there are nonprofits out there that don't agree with well, just bisexuality at all or homosexuality. And so you've just given people a license who you probably don't agree with. You might want to think these things through. Then February 28th, which was earlier, they said, we are no longer applying to any LGBT type groups unless we already have a paid contract with them that encourages our response. We will have a great autoresponder. Okay, I didn't see anything about an autoresponder. Apparently an hour ago, I have no idea when the date is on this, but we just made our first license offer to a for-profit company selling Pride merchandise. Get in contact and confirm under $5,000 in profits after costs, or explain how the selling of flags helps do by work or support by work in the local community. Then we list you as an approved licensee. This is to further confirm this account is run by the president of BiNet USA, also one of the largest developers of funding through the ages. So we aren't trying to make money. Just limit how many make huge money during this time of global pandemic? Why? Wait a second here. What does selling the bisexual pride flag have to do with making huge money during this global pandemic? I'm not seeing the connection. I did not run out and buy a bisexual pride flag just because it's the virus. I don't know. And then here we have some more tweets from April 29th. We said what we said. Someone talked to someone else and felt the support. At the same time, we haven't always run this account, and so it seems folks are confused. So follow us at BiNet Collective for more. BiNet Collective has 0 tweets. So if you're trying to get people to be less confused, that's really confusing. And then some more tweets, this time from 5 December of 2018. According to a Michael Page conversation with the Fae person, I guess the Faith, the bisexual pride flag was created in 1998. We saw that Michael mentioned that he thought it might actually have been Gigi Baphomet, the first weekly radio show hostess, who helped them settle on the shade of pink and fuchsia. Michael told the Faith that the flag officially belongs to the entire bisexual community and intentionally was launched to provide bisexual plus people a sign we could call home and know we're not alone. Thank you, Michael Page. Okay. Then back to April 29th, we say no and suggest you speak to your elders in your communities, as this discussion has been in play for many years and the history as written doesn't reflect the truth of our org and what Michael Page feels, not to mention we are run by President The Faith, who is also typing. Okay, so BiNet USA is now referring to their president, who is also writing the BiNet USA tweets. Great. The Faith answers back on 4/29. The work of each BiNet USA co-designer and what Michael Page really wanted BiNet to receive, if anything, is very important. But the thing I'm attacking is not that. It's for-profit use without any affiliated community support. It's not been done, shouldn't start. Then they're replying to someone who's saying, I would seriously and respectfully ask, what claims do you legally have to owning the flags and colors? Unless you can establish prior art. Okay, everybody knows that prior art is patent, right? Let's back up and divide this up here. These are 3 separate things, actually 4 types of intellectual property, but one doesn't apply here. The 4th is trade secrets. That doesn't apply. So copyright is when you fix a creative work in a tangible medium of expression, you gain copyright as the author or whoever you've assigned your ownership to. You have trademark, which is when a mark is used in the stream of commerce to identify the source of goods or services. That's trademark. Similar to copyright, it has a creative element to it, but that's where it ends. Trademark is for protection of branding. Copyright is for protection of expressed creativity. And then patent is to protect a functional invention. Usually functional invention. I guess there are design patents. I don't know too much about patents, but usually a functional item. So a patent protects functional inventions. So I don't think that the BiNet organization has invented the pride flag, nor is an invention protected by patent automatically. A invention is protected by patent only upon application and granting of the patent, unlike copyright and trademark, which are protected the moment they are properly used in trademark's case or created in copyright's case. So in 1998, when Michael Page allegedly created the bisexual pride flag, copyright would have applied the moment that he fixed his creative expression into a tangible medium where it could be transmitted to others for more than a mere transitory duration, is one of the qualifiers for copyright. So it has to be fixed, more or less permanently fixed in a tangible medium of expression. In this case, putting it down into an electronic file that has the colors and the format and everything like that. That's enough. So it could be copyrighted. It could also be trademarked if the item was used in the stream of commerce to represent a source of goods. So to represent BiNet USA, or to represent Michael Page and his branding for selling things. It could even represent an entire community if it was set up like that. For example, I have a favorite hat. Believe it or not, of all my hats, I have a favorite one. It is a hat made of Harris tweed from the Hebrides Islands in Scotland. And it is made of a kind of tweed. And although the tweed itself could be made elsewhere, tweed that comes from the Hebrides Islands can be trademarked with the trademark of Harris tweed. It is a geographic trademark in that case, kind of like champagne is a geographic trademark for sparkling wine that is made in the Champagne region of France and has to meet some other things. Scottish Scotch has to be aged, I believe it's 3 years, and have a minimum 40% alcohol. So that's Scotch. You can't call it Scotch whiskey, unless you have followed the protocol set out by the geographic trademark or the certification trademark. The trademark can also, those are extensions of just a basic trademark, which normally protects the branding for a company, like Coca-Cola. But now imagine that Coca-Cola said that anybody could make Coke as long as they followed this process, and then you could hire Coke for some amount of money. It could be a small amount of money, it could be a large amount of money, to certify that you are compliant with a trademark, with the certification trademark or the geographic trademark, and then you can use it that way. You don't even need someone to certify it. That's an example that I'm making. So did any of that happen here with the bisexual pride flag? I don't think so. Then on April 11th, I'm going completely out of order here, I apologize. On April 11th, they say, former BiNet board members, recall your service was voluntary. We shouldn't see you at a Comic-Con using our name unless you want to get sued. Our board should not see you acting as BiNet USA. We were contacted by someone asking about a speaker at a panel, and they said that the former board member did a panel at Comic-Con claiming that they were from BiNet USA. We found out we were there. We was there, they say. At the moment, we believe it's a use perfectly done by most of us, but groups that rebrand the pride flag with their own name and not BiNet USA or BiCafe if you want to be historically accurate. Now, wait a second. Historical accuracy is not the same thing as it's our trademark and you're infringing. But let's continue, and we'll get to the meat of whether or not they have a leg to stand on. And that's the end of their tweets and the beginning of my problems trying to get Firefox to obey my clicks. There we go. So Lauren Beach, I think she's a former board member. Folks have asked me about the tweets from the now deleted BiNet Twitter. It was deleted. It was reinstated. Claiming that BiNet has trademarked the bisexual flag. Oh, she is a BiNet board member, but she was not consulted about the decision to state that BiNet has trademarked or others must license the flag. By the way, that's important. If there is an organizational decision, usually the bylaws say whether the organization has to make the decision through the board members or whether the executive director has the ability to operate without approval from the board on certain things. So here we found out that a board member was not consulted. Lauren Beach says she wants to clarify. Oh, and she has a JD and a PhD, by the way. Clarify that these are the views of the president, who also was the person tweeting the content from the defunct Twitter account, which is now no longer defunct. I do not share the view that BiNet owns or should seek to license the pride flag. Board members are in dialogue with the faith, and we will issue a statement soon to clarify views. I think I have that here someplace. I also want to say that as an organization, BiNet has done 30 plus years of important work for bisexual people. Though I do not agree with today's statements, I do believe in the organization and its significance in the history and ongoing advocacy for the community. And then these are the people that are on the board. I'm assuming the Faith is this Faith Cheltenham person, but I don't know for sure. And then on April 29th, later on in the day, 2:22 p.m., they say, so we talked about it, and we want to ensure there's a future for BiNet outside of the Faith's personal funding and celeb support. We can't depend on gay money, as it means we must self-silence in return for it. Bi money equals money for bisexuals. I'm not sure what the whole self-silencing thing means. I'm assuming that there's some politics going on there. So this is confusing. BiNet on April 29th, again at 2:22 p.m. says, Wikipedia, can you help us with the bisexual pride flag wiki page? It's wholly inaccurate. I think is a bit of an exaggeration, because then they identify the material that was wrong as just that Michael Page is not bisexual. And then they say he doesn't want to be associated with the flag. I don't know that you can just erase facts. Like, it's fine if he doesn't want to be associated with BiNet and have like a board membership position or something. But if he created the flag, it's not like you can just say, oh, well, I don't want anybody to say that I created the flag. That's not a thing. Of course, I'm only saying he created the flag because it's on the Wikipedia page and everybody says he created the flag. So just take that with a grain of salt. Michael Page is queer and an ally to Bi Plus communities. He launched Bi Cafe to help support visibility, but told Faith in conversation that he was shocked BiNet wasn't making any money on the flag. How can we when everyone thinks it belongs to no one? We're getting to the self-aware wolves part. We're getting to the part where they're like, yes, everyone thinks it belongs to everyone. Why? Because you've said it does. Like, you don't get to take that back. Michael also mentioned that, this is from December 5th. These are some of the screenshots I've taken. Michael told the Faith that the flag officially belongs to the entire bisexual community and intentionally was launched to provide bisexual people a sign we could call home and know we're not alone. Okay, we've already read that part. There are then 2 pages that I found on the Wayback Machine on biflag.com/activism.asp, activism with a capital A, because, sometimes web servers are configured that way. The first Bi Pride flag was unveiled December 5th, 1998. The intent and purpose is to maximize pride and visibility. The flag is free for public usage, it says. Now, what in the world could that mean? The flag is free for public usage. Flip myself over here so you can see. And this is by Michael Page. So for somebody who does not want to be associated with the pride flag, which sounds strange to me, but for someone who doesn't want to be associated with it, here's an article he wrote about it. As a result of volunteer work I was doing, it occurred to me that if bi people were going to be visible at home, pride events and political rallies, we needed a flag. So he took the bi angles, the inverted double triangle, the bi symbol, a 3-looped symbol, which I think we saw was here. So this is the bi angles, and he arranged them into a flag. He goes into a little bit of history of the community Based on my own personal experience, the vast majority of bi people I've spoken with feel no connection to the rainbow flag, the pink triangle, the black triangle, the lambda symbol, or the double-edged hatchet. These symbols are viewed as gay and lesbian icons, which was their initial intent. Search the history of the rainbow flag and you'll see what I mean. It is my belief that bi people need their own flag. In designing the bi flag, I selected colors and overlap pattern of the bi-angles symbol. I selected which to me is the most attractive combination of pink, purple, and blue. I decided to make the top pink, which would give it 40% of the vertical dimension. I said 2/5. I am 100% right on with my proportions there. I'm a real designer and I've arrived. Purple, which is the reluctant color when you overlap pink and blue, a resultant color. Purple is the resultant color when you overlap pink and blue, and that's the middle stripe, which would be 20%, and the lower 40% would be blue. The pink color represents same sex, the blue color represents opposite sex, and the purple represents both sexes. The key to understanding the symbolism in the pride flag is to know that the purple pixels of color blend unnoticeably into the pink and the blue, just as the real world where bi people blend unnoticeably into both gay and lesbian and straight communities. I don't know about unnoticeably. I feel like I've been pretty noticed, but we're getting dangerously close to revealing way too much personal information. But I'm pretty sure that people do not look at me and go, that guy's straight, or look at me and go, that guy's gay. People are a little bit confused by me sometimes. The bi flag is the only bisexual symbol not patented, trademarked, or service marked. Please use the exact colors listed above. If we are going to be effective with this flag, we need to be consistent with our colors. So, okay, there's a few things going on there. He says that it is free for public usage. He says that it is not patented, trademarked, or service marked. So it can't be patented. That's just a thing that can't be done. It could be a trademark of Michael Page or BiNet or whatever, but he says it's not. And then he goes on to say that it's free for public usage. And then sort of in the opposite, he refers to we being effective with this flag. So assuming it's we, the community, but then it's not been assigned to the community. It's not been trademarked and can only be used by members of the community. It is not trademarked. It is not service marked. It is not patented, and it is free for all to use for public usage. It doesn't use the word copyright, but it sounds to me like they mean copyright. So let's do an analysis. Can this shape, I have to flip myself back over to the other side. Can this shape really be copyright protected or trademark protected? I think it can be trademark protected. I think that it could have been copyright protected, or at least there could have been a big argument over whether it could have been copyright protected. But I think that it's not copyright protected because it's already been assigned to the public domain. I don't think you get to take it out of the public domain just because later on you decide you wanted it for yourself instead. Once it's assigned to the public domain, I think it's assigned for good. At least anyone using it will have a defense of saying this has been assigned to the public domain, and then there'll be a big fight over it. Has it been copyright registered? I could not find under, let me see if I have my my tweets here. So I did a search on the copyright.gov website for Page Michael, which it has to be backwards like that with no commas, in the name field, and any kind of flag in any field, or bisexual. So if it was called the bisexual pride flag, or if it was called the flag, I didn't do a search for pride, but I didn't receive any search results. Your search found no results up here. So I don't believe that there's a copyright registration in this. And I think there's a confirmation from somebody that there's no trademark registration for it. I didn't look for that one. I'm assuming that there's no trademark registration. So then, if there's no copyright registration and there's no trademark registration, can they really bring a lawsuit for copyright or trademark? Not really, no. No, they won't be able to bring a lawsuit for copyright without first registering the copyright And remember that copyright registration doesn't mean that anything was adjudicated. It just means that something was applied for and a procedure followed, and the Copyright Office agreed that the work has the minimum level of creativity to be copyrighted. It does not mean that a court has adjudicated it copyright protected and original enough to be copyright protected and all that. But it stands for a presumption that there is copyright ownership, and then the parties get to fight over it later in court. So copyright could be claimed now if they registered the copyright, but they wouldn't have any claim to exclusive use of it for people who were previously using it. And it would be hard to enforce going forward because of Michael Page's statement that it is open to everyone in the public to use. Maybe it's arguable that it is a dedication to the public domain. Maybe it's arguable that it's not a dedication to the public domain, but rather a license that everyone can use it. Still, I would use both of those defenses in any copyright lawsuit over this. There's a bigger point I'm getting to, though. Let's first go to trademark. With trademark, they would have to register the trademark. Then they could sue only upon receiving a successful application published to the Federal Register of Trademarks and not opposed by the community. Remember what we're doing with Chris Taylor, Neris, and the hex box, the hexagonal interior, the honeycomb-shaped interior of a dice box. We're saying that that's not trademarkable. We would do something similar here, or someone could do something similar here and say this is not trademarkable. But something else, someone looked up the nonprofit registration and the annual filings for BiNet USA, and they have not filed their 2019 or 2020 forms that show how much money they've made and all that. Which, if I understand correctly, TAC, means that they haven't made $50,000 or more in a year, which is when the heightened reporting requirements kick in.
Usually, yes.
They don't even have $50,000 to go after or at least not $50,000 in income, right? They don't even have $50,000 in income in 1 year to support an effort at trademarking or copywriting or suing or litigating over this. So now maybe that's the point. Maybe they want to claim ownership of the pride flag now so that they can sell it and that they can make money for their organization. Well, they can make money for the organization the same way that you or I can by selling a copy of a flag that isn't copyright protected or is at least assigned to the public domain, which is also the same thing as not copyright protected, or selling it as part of your brand or something. I don't know that you could get away with claiming the flag for your brand, but you could probably sell merchandise on it knowing that you're not infringing on the trademark of anyone because there is no trademark. Remember that trademarks are for when you want to identify the source of goods in commerce. Usually the source of goods is not the goods. So trademarking the bisexual pride flag, you could make a flag and trademark it, don't get me wrong, but is the trademark the flag or is the trademark your branding? In this case, I guess they kind of overlap and they'd be both, but only if they had claimed trademark ownership and not if articles had been written for the past decade or more that say that there's no trademark. So I don't see how there's any trademark. I don't see how there's any claim here. And I think that the BiNet USA organization and Faith, whatever her name is, should really be considering talking to an actual copyright and trademark or intellectual property lawyer and discovering for themselves how little protection they actually have in it. If they think that they can suddenly take over the trademark and begin using it in commerce, that's going to be difficult because I believe others are using it in commerce. Let me do another search here. Let's say that I wanted to buy a bisexual pride flag. I can go here, and there's besides a whole bunch of stories about the claiming of it, here's B and Y, yes, thank you. Pick a charity. Kind of funny. Here is B&Y making a $7 copy of the bisexual pride flag. Apparently they sell a bunch of other like one-off products, including Amazon Basic Cable. Okay. So this one's by a company called Feilagi. Here's one with a different bisexual symbol on there. And this one's by Bonsai Tree. And I don't see how any of these are illegal. If you get the little flags here on the little sticks, they're actually more expensive to get the little ones, but it's exactly a copy of it. And this one's sold by Love VC. Here is not even the same. Apparently there's other flags. So don't even know what listing that is supposed to be. Here's a different design. So yeah, I don't think they have a leg to stand on. I really don't.
So I had a question about licensing. So one of the tweets said that they have already entered into a license agreement with someone. If that person that entered into the license agreement sees a video like yours or does some research and then finds out actually they're claimed to own the sole copyright to this and that it's, never been licensed or that it's not in the public domain, like those claims are really shaky.
Yeah.
Then could they get out of that license agreement?
Probably. It might take a little bit of effort, or they might just simply tell BiNet USA, hey, we're not observing this license agreement anymore because we think you entered it into it in bad faith. Do you remember a little while ago, Carol Highsmith sued Getty because Getty was licensing Carol Highsmith's works? And they were Carol Highsmith's works. She's a famous photographer who had dedicated her works to the public domain, but Getty was selling them. Now, it wouldn't have been so much of an issue if Getty was only selling her works. They were dedicated to the public domain. That means anyone can use them. That means anyone can sell them. What you can't do then, though, is claim ownership. And Getty was claiming that they were the exclusive owner of Carol Highsmith's public domain images. And they even claimed, like copyright claimed, Carol Highsmith's own photos from her own websites. So that was stupid. And that is what would happen in your scenario. BiNet USA. Now, I think that tweet says that they approached a for-profit organization. I don't know that they actually got a license from that organization, but if they got a license from that organization, the organization later finds out that BiNet USA didn't have everything that they said that they had, then it's going to really come down to what are the terms of the licensing agreement. Does the license agreement say that BiNet assigns all interests that it has, which is kind of a weasel language that us attorneys will use, say, I'm going to assign to you everything that I own, as opposed to saying, we are the exclusive licensor and licensee agrees to the following terms. There's a difference. In the first scenario, they don't claim to have ownership. They just claim to be assigning whatever ownership they do have. So, difference. So you want to review your contract, review your license agreement. But yeah, if you were fooled into licensing with this company and it turns out that they don't have anything, because I'm just giving my opinion here. This is not legal advice to BiNet USA. This is not legal advice to the community, but look at it for yourself. There's literally statements that the owner/author assigned the thing to the public domain, and there are statements that it is not a trademarked thing. So where else could they find any protection? I really can't think of anywhere they would find any protection. Now, they made a statement. They apparently have not made a statement on their homepage. So here's the board of directors, I guess. We'll look at that. So Faith Cheltenham, this is the Faith right here. This is Faith, who is apparently trying to claim ownership of the bisexual pride flag, which doesn't seem to have ownership. And then Brian, Juba, Brian, Denise, Lynette, Ron, Luigi, Lauren, and Seth are also board members. Leaving their website, which you would think would have, here we go, all groups, group blogs maybe? About the bisexual pride flag. This is Friday, May 1st, so this may be the latest post from them. About the bisexual pride flag, a statement prepared by the board of BiNet USA. The bisexual pride flag is open for use by everyone for any purpose, including the Confederate flag. That's a myth, they say. Fact. The pride flag has been repeatedly misappropriated for commercial uses that are antithetical to the humanity of bi-plus persons everywhere, such as imposing the Confederate flag, stars and stripes on the bisexual pride flag. From cafepress.com, pride flag with Confederate stars and bars superimposed on it. These colors run both ways. It's a parody. That's a parody. I want to see this though. Bisexual Confederate flag.
There's some commentary there.
Yeah, that is most definitely a fair use, a parody. It's a mashup, but it's a mashup that seems to be directly criticizing the pride flag. Now, you don't have to agree with it. That's the point of fair use. It's for criticism. The fact that we don't like it actually reinforces that it is critical. Here is a bisexual pride flag with the stars and bars of the Confederate flag superimposed over it. These colors run both ways. Commentary, whether we like it or not. It's not that funny. I'm amused by it because it's kind of funny to me, but it is not changing a damned thing. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It reinforces that it's fair use parody.
Because one of the points of fair use is that authors wouldn't normally want to license to people who are going to transform it into something perhaps diametrically opposed to what the author intended. And that transformation underlies fair use.
There's also a regular pride flag with the stars and bars in front of it. I get it. You don't like it. Like, I wouldn't buy this. I wouldn't display it. I don't identify with it, but that doesn't mean that I can control others. Where to go next? May 1st, International Day of the Worker. BiNet requests removal of bisexual Confederate flags, baby clothes, bibs, keychains, and other items from the internet. We direct others to participate by visiting Cafe Press to request removal of items based on infringement. You don't have to request others request removal if you actually own a copyright. You just send a DMCA takedown notice. But a DMCA takedown notice will implicate you in litigation if someone decides to do so. In other words, nobody can really sue you right now. They probably can sue you for a declaratory judgment of non-infringement and probably saddle you with the fees and costs because you're accusing basically everyone who uses it of copyright infringement. Clarity check. The bisexual pride flag is intended for community use. The community long has been able to utilize it for the creation of gifts and goods to help benefit ourselves and each other. BiNet USA continues to support the independent bisexual seller. We are currently advocating for sellers to have direct licensing relationships with corporations selling pride merchandise. We are a nonprofit. We frequently donate our time and energy to promote others' work without the aim to make any money personally. Even when we get paid, we consistently work overtime. One way you can help us is to support our advocacy. By the way, trademark and copyright have nothing to do with how much work you've put into your organization or your creativity. Certainly, one could try and back up a claim of creativity of saying, like, look, this is my creative process and it takes 100 hours to make a product. But just saying, I made something and it took 100 hours is not enough for it to be copyright protected. It must have a minimum amount of creativity. What that minimum amount is kind of hard to pin down to a specific thing. In other words, if I bend this wire here from this binder clip, if I bend it into this shape, is that shape able to be copyright protected? Well, aside from the fact that it's functional, no. But, where is the amount of creativity that can then be, if I bent this, could this be a sculptural work? I don't know if this could be considered a sculptural work. Maybe not enough copyright protection. Can the 2/5, 1/5, 2/5, 3 colors of the bisexual pride flag be considered copyright protected? I don't think so, but I could also see it barely reaching the minimum level of creativity. Myth. The bisexual pride flag was created by small business owner Michael Page by himself. I mean, we literally just read on your activism page was that the first bisexual pride flag was unveiled by Michael Page, and here's how he created it. In designing the pride flag, I selected colors to overlap with the biangle symbol. I decided to make the top of the flag pink and the bottom of the flag blue. You got me.
Now, the story behind that is that at the time he worked in conversation with Wendy Curry, and she was on the board, perhaps the president of BiNet at that time. Wendy Curry has since come out with her own statement saying that she doesn't think that she's a co-author, and that any work that she did to help Michael Page come up with it was as an individual, as a member of the bi community, not on behalf of BiNet. She doesn't think that BiNet has a claim to that copyright.
So let's go over that too. How would BiNet have a claim to Michael Page and Wendy, what's her name?
Curry.
Wendy Curry's creation. Let's pretend, hypothetically for a moment, that Michael Page and Wendy Curry were both working for BiNet at the time that they created the BiNet flag, and we'll assume that they created it together. What copyright ownership issues do we have? Well, one, were they creating the BiNet pride flag as a work for hire? Were they employees of the BiNet organization, like W-2 employees? Or did they have a written work for hire agreement that all copyrights they create during their tenancy at the BiNet USA organization are assigned to BiNet USA? And then did they memorialize that in some way by registering the copyright? No. So even if they did register the copyright now, any claims would be for actual damages, and every defendant would have this tremendous evidence that Michael Page, he said that the flag and the design are for everyone, not just the community, are not trademarked, so for everyone, are for public commercial use, for everyone. So I don't think that they have anything to go on there. If there's a copyright able to be claimed now, I don't see how it's possible. I would argue this was dedicated to the public domain, and you can't rip it back from the public domain. There's no takesies of copyright public domain assignment. The fact about the thing being created by Michael Page is actually that BiNet launched the bisexual pride flag in 1998 as part of a 2-year outreach effort. Yes, but did you get a copyright assignment? The co-creators are identified as Wendy Curry and Gigi Raven Wilbur, but are those identifications on a copyright ownership registration? So now they say we are collecting video testimonials from the co-creators of the pride flag and from the organizers who were active during the launch. We will release these videos, phone calls, and written records via our blog. Board member, professional author, and editor Ron Shuresha will help us lead this effort, which originated from an idea a long time ago in Chicago, Illinois. BiNet will present these interviews on social media and blog to ensure that the person who contributed to the creation, development, and generation of the pride flag had the opportunity to tell their origin story. The thing is, this doesn't make me want to support their organization. Like, I'm a bisexual person and I'm absolutely appalled by this. I would never support an organization that misuses copyright and trademark like this, let alone look how they're doing it. There's no attempt to figure out what the law actually is. There's no attempt to figure out whether copyright was actually assigned. There's no attempt to get all this organized before making claims. This just seems like one of those even bad press is good press situations. They just want to make controversy and make waves and claim the flag, and maybe they're trolls is what it is. It's the same thing we see from trolls. They're copyright trolls. Which I hate having to say because I like I said, I'm a member of this community. just by my orientation. And yeah, it's like they're putting words in everyone's mouths, and they don't have the right to put words in my mouth. So stop speaking for me as a community member when you don't own what you think you own. If they have some kind of ownership of a copyright or trademark, they're going to need to establish it legally before I'll ever believe it. And I will definitely help oppose. Now, what's something that we do know about claiming things that belong to communities? Now, I don't know if you remember, but a little while ago, someone tried to trademark Taco Tuesday. LeBron James and LBJ trademarks. LeBron James literally held a family Taco Tuesday with his family and posted about it on social media and literally tried to trademark the words Taco Tuesday and got the following office action against them. This was back September 11th, 2019. They had 6 months to oppose, and they did not oppose. They literally wrote an email on April 1st that Taco Tuesday as a trademark is officially abandoned by LBJ, LeBron James, trademarks. But the office action is interesting here. The applied for mark, Taco Tuesday, does not function as a trademark to indicate a source of applicant's goods. So could a bisexual pride flag operate as an indicator of a source of goods? Sure, it could. Has it been used that way? No, it's been used as a commonplace term, message, or expression used by a variety of sources that merely conveys an ordinary, familiar, well-recognized concept or sentiment. In other words, it represents the community. They cited to drive safely not being registerable for automobiles and parts because it would be perceived merely as an everyday commonplace safety admonition. They cited proudly made in the USA as not registerable for electric shavers because the mark would be perceived merely as a commonplace message encouraging the purchase of products made in the USA. Terms and expressions that merely convey an informational message are not registerable. Determining whether the term or expression functions as a trademark depends on how it is perceived by the public. So would the bisexual pride flag be perceived by the public as the trademark of one organization doing business in commerce, or is it perceived as a symbol of a grassroots community who has a flag as a symbol? In other words, could someone come along and say the rainbow pride flag suddenly belongs to them because they're using it in commerce? No, it's the symbol of a community. The more commonly a term or expression is used, the less likely the public will use it to identify one source. So others are using it this way. So even if they had a trademark, they have allowed others to use the trademark without enforcing the trademark. That is trademark dilution, I believe. And that will reduce the protection for your trademark or completely eliminate it. For instance, calling a tissue a Kleenex has resulted in Kleenex being diluted, I believe it is. Not genericided.
Oh, okay. Not genericide.
No, genericided is different. Let me look it up here. Genericide. You know what? We might be both right on this one. Let me do trademark dilution first. Trademark dilution is a trademark law concept. Giving the owner of a famous mark standing to forbid others from using that mark in a way that would lessen its uniqueness. In most cases, trademark dilution involves an unauthorized use of another's trademark on products that do not compete with or have little connection with those of the trademark owner. A famous trademark used by one company to refer to hair care products might be diluted. Okay, so it's diluted by other uses, which, okay, maybe the bisexual Confederate flag is dilution, and maybe there's also a concept called genericide. Let's look that up as well.
Yeah, to me, it sounds like trademark dilution is, your cause of action when you want to prevent someone else from using that mark, versus genericide is the result of if you don't protect your mark.
Yeah, so trademarks becoming genericized, homicide, genericide, killed by genericization. happens because it begins as a distinctive product identifier, but changes meaning to become generic. Products or services with which the trademark is associated acquire substantial market dominance, such as the primary meaning of the generic trademark becomes the product or service itself rather than an indication of source. So it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of being diluted and being genericized. It's being used by others for other than its intended purpose, and you're not policing it. And it's also being used by others for its intended purpose, but so much so that it becomes associated with the the community instead of with the organization, the company that's behind it. In fact, until I heard of this dispute, I didn't even know there was anything in the past 20 plus years that was trying to protect this. So I think you also have the various defenses associated with not protecting your legal rights. So when you sit on your legal rights, various defenses pop up for whoever you later on go after. So if I sit on my trademark rights and then go after somebody 20 years later, they can say various things. Aside from just trademark remedies, they might try a remedy called latches, basically saying you waited too long, is the common law doctrine of latches. Now, we don't use that in trademark and copyright because we have statutory or codified or written down law, as opposed to needing to use common law for copyrights or trademarks. But yeah, so that's a cluster. So yeah, that is why I think the bisexual pride flag is not actually copyright or trademark protected. Why I think it's okay for anyone to use it. Why BiNet is just copy wrong, says Brigand231. Thank you for that one. Yeah, let's do that. Let's put the bisexual pride flag like as the background of the thumbnail for tomorrow's video, and just the title will be copy wrong. Jeez, that's just so wrong. Is this a smart PR move? Tack asks. The flag has been used commonly for 20 years. It represents a community, and trying to get these agreements now smacks of exploitation. Yeah, I think it goes against Michael Page's written words and his intention. Did we have the statement from Wendy Curry? Where did we have the statement from Wendy Curry? And they deleted their Twitter for 24 hours. Let me see if I can find the statement from Wendy Curry. Nope, this is the same one. This is Faith Cheltenham.
Oh, it was a post on her Facebook. 1 second, I'll get it to you.
Yeah. So while we're looking, this is Wendy Curry, a animal rights campaigner and bisexual rights campaigner with one of her rescue dogs. And there's nothing on her Wikipedia page about this, and there shouldn't be. So she writes, to bi bloggers and members of the bi community, my name is Wendy Curry. Once upon a time, I was president of BiNet USA. You may have seen my name as one of the creators of Celebrate Bisexuality Day, CBD. Okay, I'm less confused about that now. I no longer have a platform, but I need to set the record straight. During my time at BiNet, I never signed any intellectual property contract. My thoughts and actions were mine and mine alone. CBD was no more a BiNet USA product than any software I wrote at the time. In fact, although Michael, Gigi, and I were on board at the time, we specifically kept out of other discussions. We presented it to the world without a larger vote. The flag was never owned by BiNet. It was created and copywritten by Michael Page. Now that means that it's copyright protected, because anybody who expresses themselves into a tangible medium expression, that automatically becomes copyright protected. And then we can have an argument later about whether it reaches the minimum standards for creativity and originality and all that. But so she's saying here that he's the one who owns it, if anybody owns it. He was not even on the board when he dreamt it up. So there really could be no work for hire unless he made a physical express agreement. We recruited him because of his work creating Bi Cafe, a Facebook-like space for our community which existed before most social media existed. Any discussions I may have had with him about how to promote the flag were done as friends and not as BiNet members. BiNet was magical, creative, influential place because we were free to be activists without fear of ownership. Activism is harmed when people become greedy. Yes. For the record, I did see the copyright, which was handed to Buy Cafe when Michael retired. It listed the RGB color codes of the 3 stripes. Enforcement would require proof of ownership, yes. Proof someone was using the exact colors, okay, and a note from a lawyer. Okay, so I'm gonna fix that in a moment. Feel free to ignore anything else. Oh, and if anyone is selling anything with the buy flag on it, send me a link. I could use some new bling. So she's fine with other people selling buy pride flags. Okay, great. Now, what does she say this about a proof of ownership? So yeah, someone would need to come forward with a proof of ownership of who owns the copyright. Somehow, I don't even know what that would look like because Michael has assigned the thing to the public domain, in my humble opinion. Proof that someone was using the exact colors listed, I'm not sure what that has anything to do with it. If you're reproducing the flag, you're reproducing the flag. If you're not, you're not. It's probably not going to be where you get to use a hex value that's 1 unit off of it, and it's not somehow not copyright protected. The standard for copyright infringement is substantial similarity, so it doesn't have to be exact. And a note from a lawyer, yeah, that would be a good idea because the lawyer will probably tell you you have no leg to stand on. So there you go. Even Wendy Curry disputes what Faith Cheltenham says about the ownership of the pride flag design. I don't think that any one person owns it. I don't think that BiNet owns it. I think it has been assigned to the public domain, even if it wasn't expressly assigned by someone writing to the Copyright Office. And here's something that I wanted to add to the BiNet pride flag thing. This will take no more than a minute. But this was a copyright registration that was partially refused. So refused to register gold wood, but they did register staggered carbon. This is from a company called TWN Industries. They make those water-based graphic design patterns that then get dissolved in water, and when you dip, I guess they're called dips or something, when you dip a 3D object into the water, the design clings to it. And so they have some just basic designs here that you're going to see are fairly generic. Here is one called Staggered Carbon, and you can see it looks like carbon fiber. Staggered Carbon does reach the minimum level of creativity to be copyright protected. So yes, copyright protected. But then there's one down here which looks like wood. It looks like wood grain, where they simply randomized pixels in, line by line to make it look like wood grain. And the Copyright Office said, no, this is not creative enough to reach a level of copyright protection. So somewhere in between staggered carbon and gold wood is where copyright protection begins. So that should help you all figure out the pride flag issue. Of course, I'm being a little sarcastic. And I'm going to stop there because we've been talking about it for an hour. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So thank you for joining me, everyone. That is our show. I am Leonard French, your favorite sheltering-in-place copyright attorney. This is a community-supported legal education channel. Thank you so very much to those of you who are supporting our channel financially on a monthly basis on patreon.com/ljfrench or sponsors.com/law. Thank you very much to our May $50 plus supporters: Joe Tyson, Wes Delj, Nicely Done Defense, Video Remonetized, John Steele, Gavin Barnard, Eevi, Kyle Mudrak, Spirit Bear, Jan Negrey, Michael Pearce, Daniel Perez, Blackleaf, Benjamin Hitov, Steven, Ottah, Cute Grills in Your Area, Longreach Jones, Zachary Chaney, Mullen PC, Ugly Grill, Shielo T, Josh Baker, Gregory, and Rudolph Bescherer Jr. And thank you to the $5 plus supporters. Really appreciate all of you. I will see you in the videos that drop. Love you all. Have a great week. Bye.